Could not
In our
make out.
defense, we really thought that we were making a fabulous film. And when Karan narrated the script to me, I was like, each and every scene, I was feeling like, oh my God, this is so cool. It's going to be so cool when we do it.
And yeah, so I didn't know the story then. I didn't realize the story when we did Chahat narration. I didn't understand the story when Kajol and Karan narrated it to me. And like Twinkle, I'm glad, like, you know, she didn't do the film and she thinks that helped the film. I'm glad I didn't hear the story and just went ahead with what Karan believed in. Otherwise, it would not be as great a film as it is, because with my inputs, this would be trash. So thank you, Karan, for not making me hear your film.
I remember going to every lead actress for the part that Rani did, starting after Tina. And actually, Tina is not the one who called me and told me that she wasn't doing it. It was her mother who called me. And I still remember, so she didn't even actually call me. Her mother called me and I was still at the Shamiana at the Taj, and she said that, you know, Tina is not comfortable doing the film, and I remember feeling very shattered. After that, of course, I went to many girls. I went to, I think, every lead actress that there was at that time. There were 7 of them. And ironically, Aditya Chopra called me and he said that, तूने ये शॉट देखी है इस पिक्चर में, राजा की आएगी बारात? उसमें वो करती है, ऐसे क्या करती है? वो गाती है राजा की आएगी बारात. तो I said, वो तू देख ले, जिस तरह वो करती है ना, वो सुपरस्टार है. So I said, कैसे किया उसने? He said, मैं नहीं बता सकता, तू ट्रेलर देख ले. So I said, okay. And then Shah Rukh had also seen the same shot. So I said, why are these 2 men after this one girl who has done this one shot called Raja Ki Aayegi Barat? And anyway, by that time, every lead actress available in the fraternity had said no to me. And I said, I might have to wear that short skirt and do the role because nobody was left. And then I went to Rani, and I didn't realize how short she was till I reached the house. And when I opened the door, she opened the door, I had to look and say, oh, hello. and it was Rani. And then there was Nikhil and Tarun with me, the ADs on the film, and they were sitting on the side. And I narrated the first half because that was all that there was, barring one, and the first half. And then she said, can you come to my room? So I got nervous because no girl had ever asked me to come to their room before. And so I was like, okay, I'll come. What happened? And she told me in the room that, how are you going to convince an audience? I don't want to say it next to your assistants, but how are you going to convince everybody that Shah Rukh likes me over Kajol? Because they were the eternal love pair. And I said, just trust me and go with it. And Rani, do you remember that?
I do remember that, and I do remember crying also after narration. So I also cried. I think it was your sincerity, and you were so cute and fat that time.
Yeah, thanks.
And I really miss you like that. Though everybody likes you like this, but I miss you like that.
Well, he's gone thin. You haven't grown taller, darling.
And also, I think everybody thinks that I'm a Yashraj heroine, but actually the first family I made in the industry was Dharma. So thank you, Karan. Thank you, Hiru auntie.
What, everybody, I always tell you that. What do you mean? I take full credit for you, Rani. Don't.
So I think the love that I got from them was very special because I was a newcomer then. And what was special about Yash Uncle and Karan at that time was that though there were 2 big stars in the film, they never treated me unequally. And I thought that was very special because I had no idea how newcomers are treated. But the kind of love and the kind of attention that I got from Karan, that was very, very touching, and I always remember that till date. And that's why I love you, Karan, and you're special.
I love you, Rani. And I still remember
snatching my plate of breakfast.
Oh, God. Yeah.
He has harassed me in the movie. I remember...
No, I just told you.
He's really special. He's feeling very special right now.
He has harassed me because he has snatched my plate of food, which I was eating in the morning, of the shot that keeps coming in the trailer, which is my orange short top and short skirt. And I remember Manish and Karan walking by, and I was sitting with, I think, the junior artist, and I was eating my breakfast, and they both looked at me and gone, huh? You can't eat that. Remove the plate from my hand. Remove the plate from my hand. And they actually snatched my plate, and then Manish became like, very nice and said, no, you can't snatch a plate. Give the food back to her.
No, we called the room service and said not to give you food. Because that time she was supposed to be the bomb in college and she had to lose weight. And she ended up putting on weight and coming to Mauritius. And then we were like, how are these clothes? Which Manish had bought these really stretched fabric kind of things. And we were like, how are they going to fit her? So
no, but I think you should tell them the story about my mom in the outdoor, from whom actually Manish went and I think you should narrate this story.
It was the funniest.
It's really funny. And of course, the Koi Mil Gaya costume.
That Koi Mil Gaya costume. So when Manish made the Koi Mil Gaya costume, it was a spandex silver dress, which because it's a stretch fabric on a hanger, it looks really tiny. So we went to the DOP Santosh Tundial, and I said, he's saying, for baby? So he thought it was for that small Sana. He said, this is for baby? So I said, no, this is for Rani. And then he stared at it and thought we had lost the plot because it was this tiny. But anyway, subsequently, of course, it looked really good on Rani and we managed it. But that other story was about that was funny because she was meant to be a sequence in...
No, that actually shows what a good costume designer Manish is actually.
No, because Krishna auntie, her mother, used to always go out to sleep in the van because the locations were high. She used to, in the bus, she used to fall out to sleep. It was a bus that those days we didn't have individual vans. We used to go together. And there was supposed to be a Mangal Sutra Rani to wear. It was a flash. It was a cut that was supposed to insinuate that she's already married. So I had told Manish, I'll need a Mangal Sutra, but Manish had forgotten. So of course he didn't want to tell me that he had forgotten. So he went running to the bus and woke up Krishna auntie and said, "Mujhe apna Mangal Sutra de do." So Krishna auntie was like, "Main nahi dungi apna Mangal Sutra." So, because he was just wondering why Manish Malhotra is asking for a Mangal Sutra in the middle of the day. Nahi dungi, and he had to pull and yank off the Mangal Sutra, and of course come up, and it happened to have an orange bead in it, which also happened to be the color of Rani's sari at that time. So Manish, full performance, has come and said, "Here, this is the Mangal Sutra, and see, I matched it to her sari." Actually, he had done no such thing. He had done no such thing. He has given it to me shot. Then after the shot is over, I turn around and I see huffing and puffing Krishna auntie charging up that slope for her Mangal Sutra, her suhag ki nishani. And then she even told me, "Wo hamara suhag le gaya." And I was like, what does she mean? Like, what happened there? And then I realized it was there. But anyway, there were such funny stories. Kajol, of course, we tortured you a lot also with your wig and your clothes. And we tried to get that. Mickey was traumatized the first schedule when you had to wear that bob cut because you refused to cut your hair. And you didn't.
Excuse me. What would have happened to that huge big shot that you had of, slow motion mein turn karna?
Oh, that second half mein tha na?
I would have grown my hair by that time.
Yeah, but did you get as tortured as Bhai says that you cried right through the film, but you did not cry on
No, I didn't cry. I only remember one thing where y'all were really nasty to me and y'all tried to convince me that I was a junior artist.
No, that was Bhai will tell you when...
That both of y'all tried very hard to convince me that I was a junior artist as a backup dancer.
But Bhai will tell you the story. It was in Mauritius in that cycle sequence. What happened to Kajol?
First, he threw me off the bike so that I fell and hit my head. You did.
Yeah,
I see the story like that.
I
Please
treat
tell
women
them.
like this only, yeah. But we were to do a cycle thing, and I think Kajol is not very good at cycling. And, so we were supposed to ride and leave hands or something, and she had been practicing, and then suddenly she slipped. Right in front of me, the whole handle turned, and she went flying, and she landed like this on the ground.
On her head, yeah.
On her head, like thump, like that. And because Kajol laughs at everything, then we also naturally laugh at everything, even...
What has that got to do with it?
Because he laughed, ah! So we also, ah! And then we went and kind of picked her up and realized it was a little serious. And like, in comic books, you have those little bees and birds and flying. So she like this, like that. And amazingly, she had short-term amnesia. She had lost her memory.
And she truly did. She forgot.
Truly did. First we thought, it's the shock because she's like, what? She didn't even, later on I'll tell you, she didn't even recognize Ajay when we called him and said...
Liar.
She did. We had to lie.
You had no idea.
You had no idea. No, honestly. We called up Ajay to say, and then he called Ajay and all. But she forgot everyone. And we took her to the room, and I think we tried to give her something like Advil of that time or whatever, paracetamol, something. And she had actually lost her memory, and she didn't know who she was with, what she was doing here. And it was really funny if it wasn't so serious. Actually, it was funny. It wasn't serious at all. And at one point in time, I thought maybe we should now convince her that she's somebody else. So even if she never wakes up from this amnesia, then she will always be that person.
I'll be the backup dancer, basically.
So we kind of told her, because, me and Kajol both have this issue, we can't dance well. And so I just thought to some quirky, weird sense of humor that, maybe if I convince her she's a backup dancer, so when she comes round to it, maybe she'll become a better dancer. Or something like that. It was out of
he convinced her that she's a background dancer.
Background dancer. Out of goodness of my heart to improve your dancing, I just did that. And see, ever since then, have you noticed some of the steps you're getting a little... But she came back, I think a couple of hours of sleep. And then she sort of... and it was afterwards very scary, to be honest, that she genuinely lost her memory. Yeah.
I still remember the very first day we shot the song Koi Mil Gaya, and Rani was the only one who had rehearsed the song. She had rehearsed it for 15 days because she also had the time at that point. And they were shooting, and so she rehearsed the song. And Kajol and Shah Rukh came. They were the superstars, and they walked in and whatever. And Farah was being Farah, and the step started, and they played that Koi Mil Gaya, that song, that step Koi Mil Gaya, and finally, Kajol looked and she said, because Rani was doing something totally different. So Kajol looked and said, what is she doing? She's doing it all wrong. And from loud, like the voice of God, Farah said, she is doing it right. Y'all both are doing rubbish. But if anyone knows Farah, they'll know that she says the most inappropriate things on the mic. Once she's even looked at one of the backup dancers and said, why are you looking so sad in the shot? Who died? And she said, actually, my mom last evening. And she got a shock. she was like, oh God. So she can get quite black with her humor. But I remember, Rani, you had the only one who got that right. And
yeah,
Kajol
I was nervous
this
as hell because this dress was really short.
Yes, we know.
And we were dancing on the ramp and they were all the boys and girls.
So there was a whole assistant just designated to make sure that Rani's skirt was like appropriately in place. And of course, Kajol was wonderful. I still remember before I went on set, it was day one of shoot, and she says, listen, the first thing you do is you scream at me. Because if you can scream at me, people will think you're really in control. Because nobody messes with me. So you scream at me. Of course, that plan didn't really work out because I started screaming anyway as soon as then.
I have to tell you my version of it. This is his version of it. But I gave him this spiel and then I went on set thinking that, you know, oh, he's going to now come on set and he's going to take off on me. So I had like prepared myself totally. Cut to, he turns into like Kali and Chandi on somebody else completely. I thought the guy was pushing the Akela or something like that.
These guys were meant to throw, they kept throwing the real balls on you all as a kuch tha, something.
I changed my mind. I was like, he doesn't need anybody. He's got enough of Kali to make a good film out of that.